As new as the Nothing brand is, they did surprise us last year by launching a phone under their CMF sub-brand. And now that phone, the CMF Phone 1, it's got a follow-up in the form of the CMF Phone 2 Pro. So what have they really changed this time around? Let's find out. If this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4eTech, and let's get started. Now, the most drastic change for the CMF Phone 2 Pro, it's got to be the build. Now, with the Phone 1, modularity, the swappable backs, and all those accessories we could add, that was a major selling point. But that was a Gen 1 product, and as with most Gen 1 products, there are some kind of issues you come across. So nothing says they did come across two major issues. Number one, the whole modularity of it kind of upped the thickness of the phone. The back being replaceable, meaning they had to push that thickness factor. And number two, screwing in the accessories. Now, users weren't finding that all that convenient. Having to screw and unscrew every single time they had to change something out wasn't great. So this time, they've done away with the swappable back panels, which I'm pretty bummed out by because I did like that aspect of the Phone 1. But this has helped them get the Phone 2 Pro slimmer. It's just 7.8 millimeters now, and there's also an IP54 rating. It's even pretty light at 185 grams. So when you're using the phone in hand, that thickness, that weight, it just feels a lot more wieldy. Now, while the swappable batteries are gone, the accessories aren't. They're calling this a universal cover. Instead of replacing the back panel, it kind of gets screwed onto the top of the back panel. And this brings with it MagSafe-like functionality. Not for wireless charging, but for accessories, you can just magnetically attach them and remove them. It makes the whole accessory swapping part a lot more convenient. Now, how do you feel about this? Do you, like me, miss the swappable backs, or do you feel the convenience of these magnetic accessories feel like a step in the right direction, a logical evolution of things, I suppose? What do you think? Leave a comment. Now, another change with the build is this, the Essential Key. We first saw this on the Nothing Phone 3A series, and it's now available on the Phone 2 Pro as well. So let me quickly cut to a clip from my Phone 3A video. What they have added though is this extra button to the side. They're calling this the Essential Key. Double pressing it brings up Essential Space, so it's basically a little area to save screenshots with some text or voice notes. Now, here's what I did and didn't like about it. I like the fact that the button feels different. After about 2 days with this phone, I stopped accidentally hitting it instead of the power key, and that's because it's got a different shape and a different size compared to the power button, so it's easy to identify which one is which, even blind. I also liked how they've implemented it, like a single press causes you to take a screenshot and gives you an option to add a note. A long press of that button lets you take a screenshot and record a voice note that is later transcribed. And here, contextually, if you wanted a reminder added, it does that for you. And then a double press of this button easily gets you to Essential Space where you can take a look at everything that you saved. What I did not like is the fact that you can't really do anything with these. You can't really share them. You're essentially limited to, well, using Essential Space. When I brought this up to Akis from Nothing, he said it's basically in beta, it's a work in progress. They take the feedback and implement it whenever they would. But that is basically what it is. It is a beta feature. It's gotten me intrigued enough by the concept of it, but I still feel there's a way to go before it's something I'd consider using consistently. And all that still holds true. Well, Nothing have added a few new features like camera capture that lets you take a picture and add notes to it. Essential Space is still a work in progress. So my take on the Essential Key, it still remains the same. And while that might be a work in progress, Nothing OS is ready for primetime good. You get 3 years of Android version upgrades and 6 whole years of security patches. The Phone 2 Pro, it doesn't really have any preloaded bloat either. The user experience feels great, and the interface, it's very responsive. Now, that's largely due to the software, since the specs underneath, they haven't really changed. Well, technically, we do get a bump up because this phone is using the Dimensity 7300 Pro instead of the 7300 that the Phone 1 used, but it's pretty anemic gains, a 10% improvement in CPU performance, a 5% improvement in GPU performance. That said, the Phone 2 Pro, it does run cool. Nothing claims to have used a liquid cooling system to keep the temps in check, and that seems to work. Even after a 20-minute stress test, the Phone 2 Pro barely broke the 40-degree mark. Also, stability was excellent. By the way, note that the base is now 8128 instead of 6128, though the battery capacity as well as the charging speeds, they remain unchanged. Now, there is one change though, for India at least. Nothing is finally throwing a charger in the box, so that's always a good thing. Now moving on, the next change, it's with the display, which is now larger at 6.77 inches and has smaller, more symmetric bezels. This panel, it also peaks higher, 3000 nits for HDR, 1400 nits under auto mode. So the Phone 2 Pro, it's easier to use outdoors. This is also a 10-bit AMOLED panel with 120Hz refresh. There are more adaptive refresh options. And if you're sensitive to OLED flicker, there's PWM dimming 2160Hz. Now with speakers, there's now an option to push loudness beyond 100%, so you can trade quality for loudness if that's something you want. Now next up, another major change is with the optics. So here we get a triple camera setup, and the primary, it's now larger. In fact, it's the same sensor we saw on the Phone 3a series, so we've seen it in action before and it fares just as well here too. Even under low light, it produced pretty good results for the segment. Also, this sensor can shoot decent 4K video. We then have a 50 megapixel telephoto that provides 2x optical zoom. Basically, it's for portraits. And then there's an 8 megapixel ultra-wide rounding up the triple camera array. On top of all this, you can pick up a macro and a fisheye lens converter to use with a universal case if that's something you want to do. And with that, let's now get to price. Now, when nothing were briefing me on this product and we got to the pricing part, I was exceptionally wary. Not because of the specs or anything, but because of how they've named this phone. We had a Phone 1, they could have called this a Phone 1 Plus, Phone 1 Pro, Phone 1S, but they called it a Phone 2, and not just a Phone 2, but a Phone 2 Pro. So to me, I thought they were gonna push up the price way too much. They've not done that, but the pricing has gone up. Remember, the Phone 1 started at 15,999 with offers, so there is a slight bump here. Now yes, they have improved a few things, the optics, the design, the display, and even marginally up the performance, at least technically. And all those magnetic accessories are definitely more convenient, sure, but it's also almost the same chip on a phone a year later. So at the very least, I would have been super happy if they'd not increased the price and they'd kept it the same. But maybe that's just me. What do you think? What do you think about the CMF Phone 2 Pro? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Ash out.